The most successful person in the room is often not the smartest, nor the most talented, nor the one with the most potential. There is something else that is going to determine your success a lot more than your potential. Potential, in its most basic definition, is the capacity or possibility for something to grow or develop and become more than it currently is. Which means, by that definition, we all have potential in us. We all have the potential to be something more than we currently are. We all have the potential to do more than we're currently doing. But potential really isn't the most important piece of the puzzle. And without some other factors in play, your potential really doesn't matter. And so today I'm going to get into what matters a lot more than just your potential and what is going to get you to that finish line of making the change that you actually want to make. Not just sitting around thinking about it, not just spending your time daydreaming about it, but actually making it a reality. All right, let's get into this.
Welcome to the Mindset Gym podcast, where we exercise your way of thinking to help unlock your hidden potential. I'm your host, Emily Irwin, a registered nurse and holistic nutritionist with a passion for all things health, fitness, and personal development. All right, let's get into it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mindset Gym podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to talk about potential. More specifically, your potential. Because you do have it. Whether you feel like you do or not, we all have potential in us. We all have potential to be more. But potential really isn't the most important thing. The people that you see making their dreams come to fruition, the people that you see accomplishing the really big, amazing things that you aspire to accomplish, are often not the people with the most potential. It's often not the people who started out in a position best suited to be where they are. What got them to the finish line, what got these people to create the success and have the life that they wanted to have, isn't their potential, it isn't their talent. It's their ability to put in the work. It's their ability to get uncomfortable, it's their ability to go for it, even when the rest of the world does not believe in them. It's their ability to believe in their dream and what they're doing so hard and work so much to make it a reality that you make the rest of the world believe it. Success and the goals that you are wanting to achieve likely require a lot of hard work. They likely require a lot of you showing up without seeing the results right away. They likely require a lot of you showing up and doing the things when no one believes in you, when no one thinks that you're going to achieve the things that you're going to achieve. What's going to set you apart in these situations is not your potential. It's not what people think you're capable of at first glance based on where you are right now. It is you having the deep belief that what you're doing is going to work and being willing to put your head down and do the work no matter what. Success does not care about your potential. Life does not care about your potential. Potential only matters if you do something with it. The best part about this is because discipline and hard work and the willingness to try means so much more than your potential, it also means that if you're in a situation where there's something that you dream of doing, something in like your wildest fantasies, the things that you are too embarrassed to tell your friends that you want to do, because it feels like you can't do them, because it feels so far away from the person that you are right now. The great thing about this is even if you don't think you have the potential to do what you want to do, even if you don't think you're the kind of person who could do it, that doesn't matter. Your potential to achieve that thing doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What matters is whether or not you're going to do the work. And anybody can do the work, right? Anybody can go out and be willing to push and be willing to try. And they can create that reality for themselves, whether they had the potential to do it or not in the first place. And I don't want to see you waste another year overthinking, doubting yourself, waiting for the perfect time, and putting off doing the work, while somebody else less suited for the position takes your place just because they were willing to try while you were still sitting around trying to get everything right before you take the first step. If there is a position you want to be in, if there is a place that you want to be in your life, it is your responsibility to show the world that you deserve it. And I'm going to give you some examples to paint this picture for you. I have a few people that I want to talk about who, at first glance, did not have the raw potential, did not have the likelihood. People looking at them wouldn't have guessed that they would achieve the things that they achieved. And along their journeys, they were told no. They were shut down a lot. There was a lot of people out there who didn't believe in them. But they were willing to work. They were willing to keep showing up when no one believed in them. And they were willing to believe so hard in their dream that they proved to the rest of the world that they can do it. And the first person I want to talk about is Sara Blakely. Sara Blakely is the founder of Spanx. Now, I'm sure you probably all heard about Spanx now because they're a very popular brand. They're kind of those like undergarment things that kind of, put everything together underneath your clothes. Sara Blakely faced numerous rejections and numerous no's. And despite this, she never stopped believing in her dream. She never stopped working to make it a reality. She relentlessly cold called buyers and drove to people to pitch them in person until somebody picked her up. And eventually, this relentless pursuit worked. She ended up landing a meeting with Neiman Marcus by going to them and asking for it, which I heard her talk about this in an interview at one point. And I don't know a whole lot about the fashion world, but I guess going to Neiman Marcus and asking for something like that was unheard of at the time because they were such a big company. And the general consensus was that you wait for them to come to you. She wasn't willing to do that. She believed in what she had to offer and she went to them. And she ended up landing a meeting with them. And this was after several rejections and several no's and several people not believing in her product. And even during her pitch with Neiman Marcus, she talks about noticing that the person she was pitching to, their eyes were starting to glaze over. They were starting to not pay attention. They weren't really understanding the product. And she was losing them. So she did something genius. She pulled this person into the bathroom and she put her product on. So instead of telling them what it can do, she could show them. After this interview, Neiman Marcus agreed to place its first major order of her product and start selling them in their retail stores, effectively launching the brand into major retail. Years later, Spanx is a globally recognized brand, bringing in around $300 to $400 million in revenue every year. Now, going back to Sara Blakely at her beginnings, nobody would have guessed that this is where she was going to end up. Nobody saw the potential of her doing this, but she did, and she believed in what she was doing. And another person I want to talk to who believed so much in what they were doing that they managed to make it a reality despite everyone else doubting them is Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz grew up in public housing with a father who had gotten injured at work, which sparked his interest in employee benefits. Howard joined a small coffee bean retailer. At the time, that's all they did. They didn't have any cafes, they didn't have any restaurants, they were just a coffee bean retailer. And after a trip to Italy, Howard had the vision that this coffee bean retailer could become a community cafe experience, not just a product. But at the time, nobody believed in him. He was told that Americans don't drink espresso, and people won't pay that much for coffee. Howard then left this coffee bean retailer to start his own cafe concept. He pitched the idea 242 times and received 217 rejections. I want you to let that sink in. I think a lot of people would quit after their first few rejections. Howard persisted through 217. After persisting through all of these rejections, Howard finally managed to raise $1.6 million from a small group of investors, and he went back and bought that coffee bean producer and turned it into the coffee cafe vision that he had. So what am I talking about? The cafe that Howard Schultz launched, that he took this coffee bean producer and turned into, is Starbucks. He had a vision back then of what Starbucks could be, and no one believed in him. No one saw the vision that he had. No one thought that this was going to be successful, but he didn't give up. He continued to relentlessly pursue this dream. And now, years later, because of his persistence and hard work, Starbucks is another globally recognized brand, bringing in millions of dollars in revenue every single year. Which goes to show, again, it's not all about your potential. Looking at Howard Schultz years ago as just an employee of this coffee bean producer, he didn't have any business experience. He didn't have any experience running a cafe. Even the thought of having a cafe community similar to what Starbucks is was unheard of at the time. There was no potential for that to happen. But there was a lot of dedication and hard work that made that come to fruition. And that really is the special sauce. It is your willingness to make it work. Even when all the odds are stacked against you, it's about being persistent and innovative and finding a way to just figure it out. Because it is possible, even if it feels hard, even if you feel like you are constantly climbing up a mountain and getting pushed down by boulder after boulder after boulder. You continuing to show up and step forward regardless of all these obstacles will eventually get you to the top. The final example I want to give you of someone who faced a ton of rejection and a ton of doubt in his ability and made it work anyways was Jay-Z. Jay-Z was rejected tons of times in his pursuit to get a record deal. People didn't want to back him. They told him things like he was too old, he doesn't have a commercial sound, and he's not marketable. And despite rejection after rejection, he believed in what he was able to do. He believed in his ability to make this work. But because he didn't fit a specific trend, he couldn't get backed by a record label. But that didn't stop him. Jay-Z partnered with Damon Dash and Kareem Burke and founded Rockefeller Records. And in the beginning, they pressed and distributed CDs out of the trunk of a car. If that's not the definition of making it work, I don't know what is. Despite tons of rejections, despite everyone else in the industry not believing in him, he believed in him. And he found a way to make it work despite the obstacles. What sets all three of these people apart, Jay-Z, Sara, and Howard, was not immediate potential. It was their ability to continue to show up despite the rejections, despite the obstacles, despite the rest of the world not seeing what they were capable of. They put in the work to prove it. And they continued to believe in their dream, even when everyone else tried to shut it down. And it is that kind of grit and discipline and persistence and hard work that sets all three of these individuals apart. And it's why they have seen the success that they have seen today. Potential is not equivalent to success, nor is it necessary to achieve it. Because while you may have it, potential is also just a nice word for the fact that you haven't done anything yet. So, what are you going to do? Because if there's a dream that you want to achieve, whether you think you have the potential to do it or not, really doesn't matter. What steps are you going to take to make it a reality? Because the truth is, you can. Whether you have all the tools in your toolbox already, or you're starting from square one, you have the ability to make it a reality. It is in you to do. But it's your job to prove that to the rest of the world. So I want you to stop hesitating and stop overthinking and stop putting it off for the perfect time. Because here's a little tip for you. There is no perfect time. And stop leaving the space open for someone else to take your spot. This is the year that you start working towards the dreams that you want to achieve. It is in you to make them a reality. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. If you like the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, or share the show with a friend. Your support helps the show reach even more incredible people just like you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time at the Mindset Gym.